It was a dark and stormy night, the kind that makes your skin crawl and your heart race with every rumble of thunder. I found myself driving alone on a desolate stretch of highway, miles away from civilization. The rain pounded relentlessly on my windshield, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. But I had to keep going. I couldn't risk stopping in this eerie darkness. As I pressed on, my headlights caught a glimpse of something strange in the distance. It appeared to be an old, vintage car parked on the shoulder of the road. Who would be out here in this weather? I wondered aloud, but my curiosity got the better of me. I decided to pull over and check if the driver needed any help. I stepped out of my car and approached the vintage vehicle. The rain soaked through my clothes, but that wasn't the reason for the chill that ran down my spine. As I got closer, I noticed that the driver's side window was rolled down. Peering inside, I found the car empty, and the interior was covered in dust and cobwebs, as though it hadn't been touched in years. As I turned to leave, an icy wind howled, and a faint whisper echoed in my ears. "Leave this place," it seemed to say, but I brushed it off as the wind playing tricks on my mind. I returned to my car and continued my journey, shaken by the strange encounter. The further I drove, the more uneasy I felt. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, as though someone or something was following me from the shadows. I tried to focus on the road ahead, but my thoughts kept drifting back to the abandoned car. Who had left it there? And why did it feel so hauntingly familiar? As the clock struck midnight, the rain began to ease up, and the moon emerged from behind the clouds, casting an eerie glow on the deserted highway. Suddenly, my headlights caught a glimpse of movement in the rearview mirror. I saw a faint outline of a figure sitting in the backseat of my car. My heart pounded, and I slammed on the brakes, bringing my car to a screeching halt. I turned around, but there was no one there. My mind was playing tricks on me. There couldn't possibly be someone in my backseat. Trying to calm myself, I laughed nervously and muttered, "Get a grip, it's just your imagination." I resumed driving, trying to shake off the fear that had gripped me. But the feeling of being watched persisted, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. Glancing in the rearview mirror, I saw the figure again, this time clearer than before. It was a woman, dressed in a tattered white gown, her pale face obscured by long, dark hair. Panicking, I pulled over once more, this time determined to investigate. I opened the back door, but the seat was empty. "This can't be happening," I muttered to myself, my breath trembling. I closed the door and turned around to find the woman standing right in front of me. Her eyes were hollow, and her skin was unnaturally pale. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, a chilling, otherworldly moan escaped her lips. I stumbled backward, fear taking hold of every fiber of my being. "Who are you? What do you want?" I managed to stammer, my voice shaking with terror. The woman's gaze bore into me, and finally, a whisper filled the air, "Leave before it's too late." Before I could respond, she vanished into thin air, leaving me trembling and utterly terrified. I scrambled back into my car and floored the accelerator, desperate to escape this nightmarish encounter. But no matter how fast I drove, the woman kept reappearing in my backseat, her haunting presence a constant reminder of the horror that surrounded me. As I continued driving, I realized that the vintage car I had encountered earlier was somehow connected to the ghostly apparition tormenting me. It became clear that the driver of that car, the woman in white, was forever trapped on this desolate highway, doomed to haunt anyone who dared to cross her path. I didn't know how to break this dreadful cycle, but I knew one thing for sure: I had to get off this highway, away from the malevolent spirit that refused to let go. With adrenaline fueling my actions, I took the first exit I could find, hoping it would lead me back to civilization. After what felt like an eternity of driving, I finally reached a gas station. As I stepped out of my car, I realized with relief that the ghostly figure had vanished. Maybe she was bound to that lonely stretch of highway and couldn't venture beyond it. I shared my spine-chilling encounter with the gas station attendant, who nodded knowingly. He informed me that the stretch of highway I had been on was infamous for ghostly sightings and unexplained phenomena. Legend had it that a tragic accident had occurred there decades ago, leaving the spirits of those involved trapped in eternal torment. With a trembling heart, I thanked the attendant and vowed never to return to that cursed highway. I will always remember the horror that awaited me on Midnight Highway, a chilling reminder that some spirits never rest and that the roads we travel on can be haunted by the darkest of secrets.